Warsenal Studio B in Chandler, Arizona, this is MayaCast. Welcome to another edition of MayaCast. I'm your host, Tom Shadle.
And I'm your host, Skip Barcel.
And this is episode 199 for Friday, September 21st, 2018. T2 Brute. Coming up on today's show, we will be talking about the brand new Tartary Armored Korps, the new sectorial for Ariadna, featuring the Russian aspects of the faction. And we do not have any new events to announce this week.
Oh, wow.
So we can get into it pretty darn quick. However, we first want to remind everyone of MayaCast Masterclass Quarter 3, which is ending in about 2 weeks. So our theme this quarter is heroes and villains. And so we're looking for characters. They can be Infinity characters, Aristea characters. They can be a character of your own design. But yeah, characters, heroes and villains. That's our theme, however you want to interpret that. It is a single miniature. It is one entry per person. We require a before picture because we want new stuff for the contest. So a before picture that's time and date stamped. We ask that you don't share pictures of it online before the contest is over so that it's all brand new stuff in the gallery when we post it on Facebook. And then you can have up to 4, along with that before picture, we want up to 4 completed pictures, final pictures, that you can all include in one single email, the before and the 4 finals. And if you could, take those final pictures and label them with your name for us. So you would have Chip Rothwell 1, Chip Rothwell 2, Chip Rothwell 3, Chip Rothwell 4. Would be fantastical. So far, only one person has not followed that rule this contest, which makes it so far the most successful as far as that goes. So we really, really appreciate that, guys. We've gotten a bunch of entries so far, a lot of really good stuff, some cool conversions, and some cool stories that probably won't get published, but we did enjoy reading them as they came in. And yeah, so you can send your entries to tom@mayacast.com
and kip@mayacast.com.
And remember, the winner that we decide on, the best painted miniature, will receive the personally engraved MayaCast Master Glass in either pint or rocks versions. And depending on how many entries we get, we give more prizes away. All the rest of the prizes are done through a random drawing, and we give out box sets and blister packs and all sorts of cool stuff like that. So the more entries we get, the more we give away, and it's all a random draw on random.org. So there is no reason not to enter because anybody can win cool stuff. So please send those in to us, and you've got until Arizona Armageddon is over. So that's going to be like October 8th.
Yeah, it's like soon.
Yeah, you get like an extra week. So yeah, it's like 3 weeks you have still to work on it. And you can certainly get a character painted in 3 weeks, right? So get cracking and send them in, and can't wait to see them all. Yeah, so that's it for reminders.
Yeah, it's like super short this week.
Yeah, so let's get right into our discussion of the TAC sectorial.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles.
Then have a resistance, sir.
Yes. But why are they using such primitive weapons?
Now entering the war room. So I'm really liking the Tartary Armored Korps. I think there are some really great pieces in it. I'm even loving them in even more in vanilla Ariadna.
That's really interesting to me.
Well, a lot of the availability I'm not exceeding anyway, and it allows me to take some cheaper units. Because one thing you'll find is that things tend to be a little expensive in the Tartary Army Corps.
Yeah, it was quite surprising, and it was a pleasant surprise. once I started kind of like going through it and looking at it.
So it wasn't just another U.S. clone, or
Exactly. And everybody was expecting this. I can't wait till those are linkable and those are linkable. And when I heard that TAC was going to be a thing, I'm like, great. It's going to be, a little bit like U.S. and Caledonia, but with a little bit of a twist. Completely freaking different, man.
So, we're going to go through the units in Infinity Army in order and talk about different fire teams and things as we go along. So, and we're going to talk about ones that are different in TAC than they are in vanilla as well. So we start with the 112. Mm-hmm. And the 112 is Fire Axe Doctor, of course. In TAC, he is availability 2 as opposed to the 1 in vanilla. Mm-hmm. And he can form a core fire team with up to 4 Frontovics.
Which is, I think, amazing.
Yeah, because the Frontovics have engineer options. Mm-hmm. So you have a doctor and an engineer running around a fire team. They can be really mobile, get up, do some objectives, shoot up some stuff.
But you have a doctor in there, not just a paramedic. Mm-hmm. So unlike all the other factions, like you don't really have a doctor around. And it's not like Ariadna has a whole lot of them helper bots, just floating around because there are none. So I thought it was a really cool addition to add this in. It's like, oh, you have a special fire team corps where you can add a doctor, mm-hmm. not just a paramedic. It's cool if you want a specialist in your group in the other sectorials. But when it comes to actually do what they're there for, it's rolling like 6s and 7s ain't fun. Most of the time, so a Whip 13 doctor is much better.
And because he's availability 2, you can have the one rolling up in the fire team, mm-hmm. In the core fire team. You can also have one, along your back lines mm-hmm. to, crawl prone along that gantry to heal up your Spetsnaz that went down to an unlucky crit from a Toha Tsukiel HMG right. or whatever.
Or even have one in a Hari's team, because you can do a core front Nix and a Hari's front Nix. So if you're running one of those lists in something like Biotech Vor.
But the 112 can join a core fire team of up to 4 Frontovic.
Oh, that's right. I'm an idiot.
It is a special core, so he can't join the Harry's team.
Good point.
And then, you can also take 2 Kazakh doctors, and you pay a point more for a point of armor.
And less physique, so they can't dodge as good.
Right. And a rifle instead of a light shotgun.
Yeah.
But, the upshot is that you could have 4 doctors, potentially, if you wanted them.
True. Man, I can't believe I missed that. What an idiot.
Missed what?
The whole
core. 5 doctors, because Kazakh doctors are availability 3.
Really?
Yep.
My goodness.
I think I would have preferred if they would have been rolled into line Kazakhs so that your Kazakh doctor could pal around in a fire team with the line Kazakhs.
Kind of makes sense, right?
Much like a Gulam fire team, for example.
I would have liked that a lot better. Because they kind of have the same symbol anyway. One's red and yellow, the other one's red and white.
But now we've gotten ahead of ourselves and we've skipped down like 5 symbols already. So we move on to Veronin. And Colonel Veronin is back, and he gets 2 special profiles only available. It's really just 1 profile. Yeah. Special profile only for the Tartary. And
but it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
So in TAC, he gets an option for a T2 boarding shotgun and sensor. And it's the same profile. The reason there's 2 is you can have him as your lieutenant or not. And T2, and with Strategos level 1, why not make him the lieutenant? You can get an extra order, especially in a more expensive flavor of Ariadna. Mm-hmm. So T2 boarding shotgun and sensor, which makes perfect sense to me. I don't understand how he didn't have sensor all this time, since he's on a base with an antipode.
Right?
And all the antipodes get sensor.
It was because it's a baby antipode. It's a pup.
It's grown up now?
It's grown up a little bit, yeah. That's why.
And so, T2 boarding shotgun. Disappointing to learn, like if you haven't played with them a lot, right? I think, is the only other place they exist Caledonia?
What's that?
T2 boarding shotgun?
Yeah.
So I guess vanilla. but
Yeah.
Caledonia, really, right?
Yeah.
Disappointing to learn that the template is not T2. If you use the template mode, it's all normal damage. Only, hit mode, if you will.
So it's essentially like if you
T2
do
mode.
like in a boarding shotgun, if you do AP mode, it gets the special ammunition because it's like a slug round,
But
it
otherwise-
doesn't get the spray. If you spray, then it's same damage, but doesn't get the special ammunition.
But his unique ability, in other than the profile, his unique ability in TAC is he is a wild card. Woo! Which means he is allowed to join any fire team in the Tartary Army Corps. That's duos, Harry's, Corps, Special Corps, doesn't matter. He can join any fire team. Remember, you still have to respect maximums. Harry's cannot go above 3, duos cannot go above 2, Corps cannot go above 5. So you're putting him in as one of the 5. You're not adding him to it and making it a 6-man fire team. That's not how it works.
It's huge, though. I really like this. I had told Tom, like, that popped up, and I was excited that they're using that, because the first time we saw it was in Drew's with Valeria. And when we were playing the Paradiso campaign and I lost her, I realized how important it was to have that wild card, because with availabilities and it was really easy to kind of like stretch the limits. And when you took that away, I didn't realize how awesome it was in there. So seeing this is going to be interesting with some of the like specials that they can form, and with availabilities getting kind of stretched a little bit, to see how you can maximize your potential by adding like these wild card units in. So I'm kind of stoked to play around with that. I played around with it a little bit, but definitely love the upgrade, because I don't know why I would want to take the rifle version, because if anybody's going to be attacking him, and I would most likely make him the lieutenant, most likely, because Strategos, because it turns it into a regular order so you can use it and it doesn't break any fire teams. I want that T2 boarding shotgun rather than a rifle. And assault pistol is pretty cool, especially in a fire team, but I'd rather take 3 T2 shots at +6 range. You know what I mean?
BS 11 +3 for a 5-man fire team, +6 for a boarding shotgun or a T2 shotgun in good range, even at his old man ballistic skill of 11, that equals 20.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
And it actually protects him if he's in a 4 or 5-man fire team a little better when because Veronin is one of those sort of obvious lieutenants, right? And so somebody brings a Speculo or a Fide around, and they're going to use the impersonation to try and assassinate your lieutenant, get you in Lost Lieutenant for your first turn. So he's part of a fire team, which grants him the 6th sense, right? And so he's ignoring the... he does have level 2 on his own as well.
Yeah, he has level 2 on his own.
So he's ignoring the surprise attack and all that, right?
But you get you get to block him.
You get a what?
Block him. Like if you know that you're going second, you have all this fire team around him, you can put him against the wall and put people to where that can't move through to get surprise assault. So
Right, the 6th sense is going to ignore the surprise attack.
True, but like she would have to like go either shoot you through another person where you get to shoot back, but she can't assault you with that mono. So you get ballistic skill versus...
Well, see, I mean, I think it's fine, right? Because you're hitting on a 20. She's going to bring that down to a 17 with martial arts level 3. But she's rolling 1 die. You're rolling 2 dice. I don't know. The 6th sense he's already got, so that was part of my thought of like it kind of protects him being in the fire team. But he does get the extra burst that he never had before for protection to shoot back, and the +3 ballistic skill link. That was his problem. He was ballistic skill 11, so shooting on 20s, right, is pretty good with 2 dice, and I'll take the 2 dice to the 1 any day. So. Yeah,
he's definitely like
solid. Love the new profile, and so you can sit there in that like defensive link team, the defensive fire team, right? So you can sit there hidden in the back if they're not moving anywhere. But he can. There's chain of command options now. He can roll out with the team, and now your fire team's got a sensor, right? It's just got another tool in its toolkit where the fire team rolls out towards the middle where the objectives are. There's a bunch of camo markers because they're rolling out some infiltrating camo specialists, and now Verona can censor and reveal those camos, and then the Frontovic Molotov can go take care of it around the corner.
Right.
Yeah. So Veronin, still solid choice. Goes to dozers, which are identical to what they are in vanilla. So skip right over them. Go to Dynamo, brand new unit.
Right.
And that was the thing I was thinking about. Was I feel like the last couple of sectorials, right? Like JSA. There was a lot of renaming, but you essentially got the same units. The profiles are tweaked a little here and there, right? But, Asuka becomes a Kuroshi Rider, and Raiden become Ryuken 9, and Haramaki become Tanko. And, but so there's like the Daiokai, that was brand new, but it was basically just a new version of a sectorial we're familiar with. Even the all the mercenary companies, you got brawlers, and then the occasional character like Raoul or Emily. But it was taking a bunch of models you already knew and putting them together. This was like, oh my gosh, all the new profiles.
Right?
So many new profiles. So Dynamo is the first one that we stumble upon. Regiment of Kazakh Light Cavalry. These guys are regular, non-impetuous bike riders.
Yeah, that's insane. Non-impetuous.
So maybe they are bicycle riders.
Right. They're on mopeds.
I always felt like the impetuous bit was, they're on a motorcycle going at high speeds where everybody else is like on foot. So they're impetuous because the bike is moving. So it helps represent that. But regular non-impetuous bike models.
So that means they can claim cover, right?
No, because the equipment motorcycle says you can never gain cover.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
I was hoping. And what's funny is I never cross-reference that. I was like, can they claim cover?
Yeah, so when you get the motorcycle out of a panoply, you can't get cover bonus as you're zooming around on a motorcycle with, I don't know, an Oniwaban or something. So, so the bicycle comes with smoke launcher and a mine dispenser, the new piece of kit we saw on the Raicho.
That was my
Raiko.
first, when I put likes and dislikes checklist, that was my first like. Because it's like not only can they shoot out smoke, they now can shoot out mines.
Right, they're not impetuous, right? So they don't need to expose themselves. So they can shoot out the mine. Then they can shoot out the smoke on top of it to zoom across to where they need to be. And now that person that wants to react, like, there's smoke in the way, but if they do anything, that mine's going to go off, right?
Yeah.
So you have the smoke cover to totally protect you, but even if there's if MSV you plopped it in front of, that would shoot you anyway, or whatever. Yeah, but you can plop both of those problems out in front of you that they would have to deal with.
Or like we just said, Veronin with sensor now on a fire team. If you've moved up the field, you have a bunch of infiltrating camo tokens. You can use sensor. Pop those guys out of their camo, and now you can just shoot mines in their vicinity so that when you go zoom across, you can blow those stupid guys up, because usually they're a pain to deal with. Especially if they had a Tio camo there that you didn't know about. You just censored because they had another camo in the area. Because I was playing JSA this week.
They are availability 2 in vanilla. They are availability 5.
Biker gang.
But I mean, 23 to 35 points for a 1-wound model. Like,
Armor 1, too.
I don't know if I'm taking 5 55mm bases that are that fragile. But you can if you want to. They do have dogged. So
I like that.
They can keep going and do their duty after taking a hit. They have duo. So you can definitely run 2 bikes at the same time. Like the Forward Observer one and the Molotov one, for example.
Yeah, that's kind of what I liked. I had them down as like, why would you take, you have a really good assault with the Molotov. And the forward observer was my favorite because they're fast, so you can get angles that you need to either get your classifieds, objectives, or target people, because as we get into later, there's some really cool things that they have now that work. So submachine gun's cool because it's the cheapest, but it's like, man, you got to get there.
They have a forward observer and a paramedic for specialists. They are both half an SWC, though, and 29 points. Forward observer comes with a rifle. Paramedic comes with a boarding shotgun. And frankly, I think that's backwards, because the forward observer then has the flash pulse, which goes out to a longer range.
Right.
Anyway. But I guess, fluff reasons the doctor would be more likely to carry a shotgun. Sure. Yeah, why not? And so Dynamos are going to be a new bike. I hope they're not just Maverick bikes with new riders. I hope they do something a little special to them.
Me too.
Because we've already seen those.
I hope they're Vespas.
That'll be the new Italian sectorial.
Right.
But now onto the really exciting new unit, Frontovics. The Frontovics are this sort of mid-20s priced light infantry, not medium, that are ballistic skill 12. They're 1 wound light infantry, but with armor 2.
Yeah.
They all have mimetism,
Which is amazing.
They all have courage.
Yeah.
So they ignore the retreat state. Mm-hmm. They all have veteran level 1, so they're also going to ignore lost lieutenant and can't be isolated. And retreat as well.
Yeah, stay regular.
The courage really just lets them choose whether they stay up or go down for guts rolls, because the veteran level 1 provides the other benefit. Base model is 23 points, comes with a T2 rifle.
Not bad.
Ballistic skill 12. Not bad at all. They are availability 5. Mm-hmm. They can Harries, and they can core, and they have special core. Mm-hmm. And so the availability 5 can get stretched. Like, you can stretch them thin because, like you said, the wild cards and the special fire team makeups. But you can only have 5. The Molotov heavy rocket launcher, a light rocket launcher, comes on one of the engineer specialists. AP sniper rifle has MSV1. Those are like your gun options. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, engineers or paramedic for specialists.
And all have T2 rifles.
They all have T2 rifles. No X visors.
No. MSV, we already said MSV1 on AP sniper, but yeah, I really like these guys as like the backbone. I remember Carlos saying something about that in one of the videos. And this was probably the thing that made me most excited. Because it's not like we said in the beginning, one of the reasons it's different is it's not just a US or a Caledonia clone where you get, I get to do a core with my line Kazakhs, and because they're cheap, I get all these cheap options. No, we're going to add this badass unit in here that's only availability 5, not total, but it's like your backbone. They have all the cool stuff. Similar price point to Drew's. They just don't have. Wish there was a regular grenade launcher in here.
If you take it as your backbone, you are not going to have an 18 order Ariadna list like you might be used to, because they are double the price of most of the basic infantry, and you do still have line Kazakhs coming up. But
I love the engineer profile with the light rocket launcher because it has decharges. It's only 33 points. That's actually one of the most. It's the most expensive one in there.
as I fiddle around with lists, I often find myself having to downgrade that one to the regular engineer, which also still has decharges and T2 rifle, but loses the light rocket launcher because it's 6 points and half an SWC cheaper.
It is, but it's funny because you can take the heavy rocket launcher and have the big gun. Or we'll get into later other mixes. You could take the engineer and have the light rocket launcher, and you basically get 2 profiles in one, because you have the long range, and then you have your shorter range with the T2. I don't know. I need to mess with it more, but that one I really, really like.
It's the 24 to 32 for the heavy rocket launcher, right? Where the light rocket launcher falls off. But yeah, that's where I'm like, man, I need half an SWC. Oh, I guess I'll take the regular engineer. Or, I just need, 5 more points that's 6 points difference. I guess I'll take the regular engineer. Like every time. But yeah, so, also, 1 less point of damage. It's, whatever. No, it's very good. They're very exciting. They are very malleable as far as fire teams go, which I guess we'll talk about towards the end after we hit all the profiles. But, it's solid. Everybody having mimetism. So you're a mimetism model that's in cover. You're throwing out a -6 to your opponent off the bat with an entire fire team. Seems good. Like it a lot. And everybody's got a T2 rifle.
And their classification that should show up on your printed list but doesn't ever, and it's always frustrating. They have veteran level 1, but their classification is veteran troops. So hunting party, HVT kidnapping, they can do that. Something that I've overlooked. If you listen to the last week episode, where my draft had none of these because we were playing season 9, characters didn't get it.
Yep. They are veteran troops. So, and they'll get that adhesive launcher, and they are then linked.
Or can do HVT kidnapping, because that's the one thing that I always forget since it's new.
So, real good. Front of Vix. Much excite. Ballistic skill 12, better than Line Kazakhs. Armor 2, better than Line Kazakhs. Mimetism, better than Line Kazakhs. They are 3 times as expensive as a Line Kazakh.
Yeah.
The same number of wounds. Veteran level 1. Come at me, mutts. Anyway, so on to the Kazakh doctor. He becomes availability 3.
Yay.
No, we already talked about him. So moving on. Spetsnaz, 2 in vanilla, but in TAC you can take 4. But I dare you. No points for anything else.
The parachutist option's good in like firefight, where everybody can come in off that back end. You can choose one of their deployment zones to walk in, like Van Zant. They're Van Zantsnaz at that point. But yeah, I was laughing. I was like, yeah, well, you could take 4, and if you do that,
it's half your army.
It's half your army. It's like, and if you wanted to be like, I'm going to take 2 HMGs and 2 sniper rifles, or 4 HMGs, it's like, there's all your SWC.
Worth it.
Right? Super cool, though. Marksman level 2 is pretty legit.
So that's what I said earlier as I was making lists. I was like, the best list I came up with are vanilla Ariadna using the units, because 2 Spetsnaz is already plenty.
Right.
You can take 4, and it's fun, and then you don't have points. I mean, depends on the mission, though. Line Kazakhs. They are identical to their entry in vanilla. However, they gain a core fire team, which, of course, everybody knew that was coming, and a special fire team where they can do 4 Line Kazakhs and 1 Frontovic.
Nice.
So, and again, the Frontovic has 1 more ballistic skill than they do. He's got the mimetism, so if you throw, say, the heavy rocket launcher on that Frontovic, you're shooting, burst 3 at ballistic skill 15.
Oh, yeah.
Coming out of mimetism is very good. And then 4 really cheap Line Kazakhs to back them up, and you've got a 5-man fire team on the cheap, but still with a heavy hitter. And coming up, we'll talk about the veteran Kazakhs later. You can add them to any fire team as well. So yeah, how about a AP? Well, I'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
So yeah, Line Kazakhs. That's the backbone, Kit.
Kind of. I mean, yeah, they're total and they're the cheap ones, but again, you like you said, it depends on the mission. And there are some, once we get into fire teams, really cool combinations, because we all know how annoyed we got with like Emily when she had like the grenade launcher, and it's like, oh, it's a grenade launcher, but it's because it's such a high ballistic skill. Like, they have access to that, but it's never really been a thing until people started doing like the EM Drews, and then it's like, oh, I have a Ballistic Skill 12 guy with it. But you can still do those stupid shenanigans with this and then do worse stuff because of what they can do and the way the freaking wild cards work. And like I said, we'll get into that in the fire teams. But I still think that like a healthy mix is pretty legit in this one.
Strelocks are the next new unit, and these we saw at Gen Con. They did the early release of the Strelok K9. They are availability 4. They are availability 1 in vanilla. They also have a option for a mine layer profile that vanilla does not get. And I think that's hilarious because then you're putting down 3 camo markers.
Yeah.
Which one's the mine? Which one's the Strelok? Which one's the ambushed camo marker? Because they do, in fact, have ambushed camouflage and forward deployment level 2, which in a lot of scenarios is just as good as infiltration. And even in the rest of the scenarios, it's almost as good. But, yeah, so ambush camouflage, forward deployment level 2, you're putting 2 markers out. They're practically infiltrating. It is so the K9, the one that was released, right? It's 0 SWC, 24 points, but in vanilla, it's it's 1 full SWC.
Really? I missed that. I completely missed that.
And what's cool about that one is the antipode's got sensor, right?
Yeah.
And so
It's camouflage as well.
it's got the forward deployment level 2 as well. So you've got 2 camo markers plus a 40 millimeter camo marker, 8 inches outside your deployment zone. And with all the other camo options, they're really going to be guessing who is what. And then, yeah, it's the sensor on that midfield antipode that can get right to where it needs to real quick to reveal enemy camo markers that she can then mow down with her submachine gun or blast with the chain colt.
Or place a mine and then bounce out around the corner and shoot. Because she still has mines.
Yeah, not... Trench Hammer's fine. What I found really odd about Trench Hammer was that it's double action, but it does not have the anti-material trait.
Yeah, you think if you were
I thought it was a
trenching-
really cool option to get across to the AC2 and smash it, and it doesn't... It's double action, but it does not say anti-material. And it's called a trench hammer. You would think it's for blasting trenches open.
Right?
So that, you can build one.
Or blowing open doors that when people are entrenched in a bunker. Like, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it doesn't...
Yeah, it's smash, Hulk smash.
It doesn't say anti-material, and it made me very, very sad.
Yeah,
Very
that's
sad.
kind of weird.
Now, that is... To be fair, I was looking that up on Army, and we know there are... So perhaps on the FAQ or the wiki, not the FAQ, perhaps on the wiki, it does, but not on Army, which is where I looked. That's what made me sad. But the profile is, it's pretty cool, considering that, so one of the first things I look for in a new faction, whether it's actually new or whether it's a new one to consider playing, I look for, where are my camo infiltrators? Give me all the camo infiltrators, right? They get the job done. And TAC only has one. It's the Ariadna Scout, right? So, but these guys are close. These guys are close with the forward deployment level 2 and the camouflage.
It is anti-material.
It is in the wiki.
Yep.
So it's just an Army error.
Both thrown and used in close combat.
Right. The AC2, you'd have to use it in close combat.
Yeah.
And disposable, what, 2?
Disposable 3.
Disposable 3. So you can take care of that AC2 with your puppy. Yeah, it doesn't list anti-material in when you bring up the weapon chart on Army as you're building TAC lists. So that was the source of my despair. I'm glad to learn it is otherwise. And
Makes
just
sense, though, right?
Yet another Army error. Yeah, so there are a bunch of different profiles. I keep finding myself drawn to the K9 because of that midfield sensor. The forward observer because it is a specialist, no SWC and 20 points.
Yep.
And the mine layer because who doesn't want to put out 3 camo markers and have you guess which is which? And then you have a boarding shotgun to go murder some folk up nice, close, and personal. Doesn't mean the other ones are bad. I just keep getting drawn to those. The other ones are AP marksman rifle. Mm-hmm. So...
It's all right. I mean, if you're going up against like the new Invincibles, that could be flavorful.
Good to 8 to 24, right? So you got pretty much the whole table covered from where you're at, where you deploy at.
I do like the T2 marksman rifle.
T2 marksman rifle. Now we're talking, it's only 4 points more.
Yeah, but that actually is what I marked as my number 1 board control next to the mine layer. Because you do have the mine layer that can pop mines out. The T2 marksman rifle also has mines. You just have to go first to get them out to control the board. But this is where I like that profile better anyway. Because you can place a couple mines out and then go into suppressive fire. And with that marksman rifle, I mean, if you're in suppressive fire, you have your own... You go into the suppressive fire mode, which is the same. But in your active turn... having that longer range, that 8 to 24 plus 3 range with a T2 rifle is really, really good because you're already 20 inches up the field. So it's essentially like you can cover a large area of where you need to, and then set up in suppressive when you're getting ready to go in defensive mode and cover a lot of fire lanes over objectives. And to me, it's like it is more expensive, but...
Yeah, again, you've gone for the most expensive option out of all of them.
I know, right? But for board control, really, really good. I mean, submachine gun's awesome because now you're the same. But that's a fun thing about suppressive fire, right? Everything's the same.
It's 29 points.
But it's T2. And you're negative 6 to hit because of your ambush camo. If you're in cover, you're negative 9. So even in their plus 3 range, if they don't have any MSV, you're negative 6 to hit, and you have a T2. So good.
Submachine guns are also capable of suppression fire.
Yeah, and like I said, they're the same range.
They're not T2, but they are either AP or shock. Mm-hmm. And same range when you're in suppression fire, you can save 13 points. That's a Kazakh forward observer and a war core.
It is, but on your offensive, if you're being offensive, they're just not as effective on the offense.
There's plenty of other offensive options that I'm probably more likely to take at that price range. The submachine gun, 16 points. It's basically the same as the K9, just doesn't have the K9, which is costing you an extra 8 points. But again, midfield sensor. And,
I like that.
And the
one.
Occasional trench hammer. But yeah, so yeah, no doubt marksman T2 rifle is good. Yes.
It's very good.
But Vasily has a T2 marksman rifle as well, and he's probably going to take, like, you know, he only starts 8 inches farther back.
That's why I said I like this one at mid board control. It's just only ballistic skill 11 though. That's the downside. That's what I have as the downside.
Right, and Vasily is ballistic skill 13.
It's one of those ones. It's like you gotta love.
Vasily is dogged, and the Strelok is not.
No.
And so yeah, I would probably, if I wanted that role, I would probably take Vasily to do it. But I do love that sensor in the middle.
That one's my favorite.
So, War Core we skip because they're exactly the same. Yep. You know what they do. War Drivers we skip because they're exactly the same as vanilla. And their availability 1, and it's your crappy hacker that you get access to.
Hey, it could help with your 2 remotes that you're allowed to take.
I would
4 now.
I mean, really, I'd only be taking it in case I get that classified.
Right.
Like, if I know highly classified's on the docket, well, I guess a war driver can come along. Tank Hunters. In vanilla, there are 3 availability. And in TAC, there are 4, in case you want to...
Yeah.
In case you want to spend 140 points on Tank Hunters. They get a new chain of command option that is 0 SWC 30 points. That in vanilla costs 1 SWC from 30 points. So, and he's a camo marker. So, and where Vasily has a chain of command option as well, he's got really offensive weaponry and cool stuff that you want him to go out and do. Whereas with the COC on the tank hunter, it's camo marker, you could really hide your cock. And yeah, I mean, 30 points is a lot to do nothing with, just to have a backup in case your lieutenant goes down. But if you're running Vasily with his T2 marksman rifle as the lieutenant, because he also gets forward observer, and he's running around, he's marksmaning stuff, and then, somebody shoots him, and he goes dogged, so he still kills more things, but then at the end of your turn, he's dead. Having the chain of command backup in Tank Hunter is a good plan.
Plus, they're elite troops with adhesive launchers, so really good at hunting party. This whole army's really good at hunting party.
The fact that people know the portable autocannon Tank Hunter exists, I think, is much better than actually taking the portable autocannon Tank Hunter, because they never know which one of those camo markers in your deployment zone is going to be that. And so they might be really gun shy with a tag or right, not wanting to stick their nose out in case it is the autocannon reveals to shoot you. But it's again, me need more dice than that. Need to roll more dice than that. And tank hunters do not have any links.
No, they do not.
So you're not getting any more dice. As fun as it is, I think APHMG, much better offensive choice.
Yeah.
Just by weight of dice.
I mean, it's fun to hit one. You're like, yeah, it's explosive. But you're right. Explosive skill 12. 2 dice. If your Achilles runs up.
But people know it's there.
That's
and they
true.
might get real gun shy with big, heavy things. And so, especially, it could be your tank hunter chain of command. That you put that camo marker and you're like, so if this camo marker is deployed here, I have line of fire to that tag, right? Okay, that's where it's going to go. And then in their mind, they're like, oh, it's probably that tank hunter. And they're right, it is a tank hunter. It's just not the one you thought. And then they go around and avoid you.
Right.
So yes, the fact that it exists is great. And when you are successful, it's very satisfying. But the problem is not enough dice. Only ballistic skill 12.
The mind games actually get me. So I'm all for that, because there's plenty of times where I'm like, oh, I know that's what that is, and they're like, you think you know, because you think you know too much, and then you are the one that screwed yourself, sir. Super good.
Vasily Plushenko, Tank Hunters Officer. So we've been talking about him a lot as we talked about tank hunters. He's like a tank hunter, but he's better.
He has more.
He has ambush camouflage, not just regular camouflage. And as I said, he has dogged. So when he loses his 1 wound, he can keep going on your active turn. Armor 3, like a tank hunter. He has ballistic skill 13, which is better than a tank hunter, which he can use on either a T2 marksman rifle or a T2 sniper rifle. And you can have him as your lieutenant, in which case he is also a forward observer, or you can have him as chain of command, which costs 4 points more. Same 2 profiles. It's either chain of command or lieutenant forward observer, and chain of command is 4 points more.
So he's a specialist no matter what you take.
He is.
But one of them gets to use an extra order, which is cool.
One of them gets to use an extra order. One of them has a flash pulse.
At a whip 14, which isn't bad.
One of them can actually do classified, like telemetry, and actually I need to learn all the new ones too.
Yeah.
But he's a character, so this season he's a veteran, so he gets
he could steal HVTs.
Yeah.
And this plays into what you just said with the tank hunter autocannon, because since he has ambush camo, like that's one of the ones where you could set him up somewhere else, use his ambush camo to like maybe be your
to pretend it's an autocannon tank hunter.
Exactly.
So I feel like the I like the aggressiveness of the T2 marksman rifle. I want to take the lieutenant version then, but I'm not going to do this unless I have chain of command because it's super. Because you want him moving up, forward, observing things, and imagine him in the grid where you first have to designate the antennas.
Oh yeah,
which you can do with forward observer skill.
Yeah.
And then, starting in turn 2, you have to destroy them using anti-material, which does not have to be in close combat.
No.
And T2 marksman rifle is anti-material.
Yes.
So he can designate on turn 1, and T2 marksman rifle on turn 2. Right?
That's kind of really nice, man.
He's the grid killer. Yeah. I think that's the mission. I think it's the grid. And so, yeah, that's super good, I hear. Is that right?
Just a little.
So I like the lieutenant option for the marksman rifle, and then for the sniper rifle, if you've got the 4 extra points, the chain of command. Something else can be your lieutenant as a great ARO piece, as people say, right? Because camouflage, cover, super long range, ballistic skill 13. He's going to be good at that. Pesky TR bot got you down. Put him 33 inches away from it.
Can't hit him.
Not on the surprise attack, anyway.
Nope.
Right?
And the funny thing is, you can use the exact same tactic where if you've been playing this for a while and people know, he always puts Vasily there behind the building, and I know 8 inches away, that's his ambush. He always wants people to think the autocannon. Well, now you put that ambush camo behind a building, waiting to move out, and then Vasily's up in the corner, and they're like, that's just his ambush camo. So I'm going to move, and then move again, and then you shoot him with your T2 sniper when he pops out. So once you've been playing with this for a while, when your meta knows your tricks, and you can actually use that to kind of throw a wrench in the gears, switch it up on them. It's pretty funny.
35 points for the lieutenant forward observer, and 39 points for the chain of command.
It's
for
funny
1 wound, armor 3. It's like, it's a lot.
And the only difference is the SWC, so it's like 39 points for chain of command, but it's like it's the same price for the T2 sniper. You just have to pay a support weapon cost, and same as like the lieutenant. I think that's kind of funny. It's just he gets more. He gets like an acrylite cannon and decharges on the T2 marksman.
I mean, that's true. You do have the super glue gun, disposable super glue gun, along with the T2 marksman rifle. But yeah,
it's hard not to take him in every list, right? Did you run into that?
I do like him.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
I do like him.
He's an awesome specialist.
But he's another one of these things that costs almost 40 points. And so now your giant order pool, which is important, especially in a season where there's a lot of things you have to do that waste orders.
Yeah.
For no good reason, just so you don't... You must waste at least 2 orders to not lose 1 objective point. Thanks. This is fun. Yeah, so he's expensive, and orders are going to be king again, and that's my only qualm. The profile on its own, though, fantastical. Like it a lot. Ratnik we already looked at, right? When it came out, you can take 2 of them if
Super
you
good.
really want to. In TAC, not a tag, heavy infantry. There are no tags in the faction. Not even a borrowed anaconda from the French.
Right.
Nothing. They are availability 2, only 1 in vanilla. They can duo.
That's kind of nice.
But the exciting thing about the duo, though, is the wild cards. Right?
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, instead of duoing 2 Ratniks for 110 points or whatever, 108.
98.
If you take 1 of each, I guess.
Yeah. True. Very good point.
Take a veteran Kazakh along with your Ratnik, and maybe it's the forward observer veteran Kazakh, so you're moving a specialist up the board with him, or maybe it's the X-Visor T2 veteran Kazakh, who I really, really like. But yeah, so wild cards.
You know what else has wild card? Veronin. So what if you're moving Veronin up and censoring camo tokens and using Minesweeper to take over their mines? Because Veronin can be 8 inches on the other side of a building, but then the Ratnik is 8 inches from Veronin, so the Ratnik's actually like 11 inches from the mine, which is outside of its blow-up range. Mm-hmm. And you could censor and then move the Ratnik up and take it over, and then continue moving. That's kind of a really good combination. Kind of fun.
Yeah. And again,
it's the expensive Strelok.
Right? The super expensive, the third of your army Strelok.
Yeah. Excuse me.
A quarter of your army for Veronin plus one. Anyway.
That's funny.
But yeah, Minesweeper. So yeah, it's hackable. You have Ariadna, and this thing's hackable, so it'd suck to get it immobilized or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But from 9 inches away, you can turn that deployable repeater into your own repeater.
Yeah, so good.
Sure, you're not going to use it as a repeater, but
that's funny.
If their hacker's not within 8 inches of it, they're no longer using it.
Yeah.
Because it's now an enemy. Yeah.
Minesweeper on that thing is like one of my favorites. And Dogged, the fact that they're Dogged.
Right, so
you can do a total bad.
You have 1 wound in armor 6, and then 1 wound in armor 4, but then you're Dogged, so you can keep going. I mean, you'll die, but you can keep going. Ballistic skill 13, heavy rocket launcher and heavy shotgun. So you got range bands covered, right? But it is just a burst 2 heavy rocket launcher.
Yeah, because it's not like double, right?
But then there's a guy with 2 Molotovs, and honestly can't wait to see what that looks like.
Right? It's like burst 5. Just, you know what it is? He goes, I got these in a little place called Texas. I call this one Des and this one Troy. Together they destroy. That's all I could think about.
You mean Carl Urban?
Yeah, that's all I could think about when I saw 2 Molotovs. It's him just like huge M16, just like mowing down some crazy undead people on the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, only damage 13.
Yeah, but it's shock.
But so that's burst nice. 5 because you have 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And then for hard targets, you have 2 Panzerfausts. So you can, shoot them both at once and do that twice.
Yeah, you could double burst. Yeah, you could double burst twice. Burst 2 Panzerfausts 2 times. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And then you have tractor mules and such to refill on.
Yeah.
If you are so inclined. I definitely prefer the 2 Molotov version. Even though it's 10 points more, we're once again opting for the more expensive. It's almost like you have to pay in points for what you get.
Right. No, I liked that one. The heavy rocket launcher is awesome. It's fire, but I agree with you. The 2 bursts.
Much rather take a Frontovic heavy rocket launcher and a 5-man fire team.
Yep. That 2 Molotovs, 2 Panzerfausts, especially if you're like, I'm going to use it for long range for a little bit. Clear out the heavy guys, then run up the field and use your Molotovs against what they're good at. Light infantry.
There we are, 54 points, taking away orders, falling into limited. I mean, these guys will shine at limited insertion.
Mm-hmm.
Veteran Kazakhs. So you can have 2 of them in vanilla, up to 2. And that got really expensive in vanilla. But in the Tartary Armored Corps, you can have 5 of these guys. They are the wild card, like we said. They can they can join any fire team. Mm-hmm. And so what is a veteran Kazakh? Well, they are non-hackable heavy infantry. They have shock immunity, which pairs well with their veteran level 2 that gives them NWI. So 1 wound on the profile, no wound in cap, but then also shock immunity to help prevent that nasty instant death. They do have mimetism, like your Frontovics do. 6th Sense level 2 all the time. Mm-hmm. And Fire Team Core.
Right.
Case you just want to spend all your points on one thing. Be a really good Fire Team Core, but also very expensive. They can duo. They can Harry's. There's a Harry's option. They get Fire Team Core, and then they have a Special Core. Which to me doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
The Special Fire Team Core is up to 3 veteran Kazakhs and 2 Frontovics. Mm-hmm. But they're also wild cards, which means they can join any fire team. So you're just taking a Frontovic Corps, and you can add any number of veteran Kazakhs to it. So it could be 4+1 or 3+2 or 2+3, right? So why does this special fire team exist?
The only thing I could think of is if later when Wildcard actually comes out as like a rule with stickers, if they said like it's only one model. That's the only way it makes sense. Because the only time we've seen it is on characters.
It can make a difference for reforming a fire team? No.
Because everything is up to.
Because a Frontovic fire team is, it's just core. So as long as you have 3, you can form it, even if 2 of those 3 are veteran Kazakhs. And you're forming it as a Frontovic fire team. Yeah, I don't understand why that exists. If you know why, if you can think of a reason why, please let us know, because it seems superfluous given their wild card status. They are really good guys, but you do pay for it. The AP HMG would be the heaviest hitter out of the bunch. He is 47 points and 2 SWC. But if he's your lieutenant, he is only 1 SWC. He's like Joan.
Yeah, exactly right.
The one that I really like is T2 Rifle X-Visor. He's 38 points, no SWC. This guy in suppression fire, so he's suppressing with a T2 rifle like you wanted that expensive Strelok to do, except he's doing it at ballistic skill 13. And he's doing it with an X-Visor, so there's no -3 range on that suppression fire. And he's got mimetism, and he's got essentially 2 wounds. And if he gets shot in the back, he can shoot them back because he has 6th Sense level 2. How do you get around suppression fire? Well, you get behind them, and then they have to dodge, or they can't. Nope, 6th Sense level 2, he's shooting you right back. You shoot him through smoke, no problem. He has 6th Sense level 2, he's shooting you back. Really like veteran Kazakh X-Visor a lot.
Yeah, that's actually kind of really disgusting. I didn't even think about that. In suppression fire, it's 0 range the whole time.
And they're -3 to shoot you, and then -3 for your mimetism, and then -3 for your probable cover. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Veteran
good,
Kazakh X-Visor in suppression. This is the first time I bust out fake terrible Russian accent for fake terrible Russian episode.
Like halfway through.
And then there's a paramedic and a forward observer profile, 38 and 39 points. I did that backwards, but so you do have some specialists. So the availability 5, you can make a fire team core out of just these guys.
No.
So expensive.
Yeah, that wild card makes them just pop in anywhere. I really, really enjoy that.
And why do you not take a core of these and you pop them into a Frontovic or a line Kazakh? Is because you get all the benefits of a 5-man fire team at 1/4 of the cost.
Oh yeah. Because essentially, like when you're building a fire team, it's like you have 1 or 2 big guns. So it's like you take this as your big gun. You could do that one where it's the Kazakhs, 1 Frontovic, your special corps. So you do the Frontovic as a gun, him as a gun, and then 3 Kazakhs to be cheap, maybe even cheap specialists. So if the guns go down, then they can run around and push buttons. And it's far cheaper with the same benefits. It's just once they're broken, those little 3 guys aren't as effective as if you took, the vet Kazakhs, but you also don't have to pay for them. I like it a lot.
Yeah, man. You put that T2 rifle or you put that APHMG in your line Kazakh core link where they're only 9 points apiece, right? And you can take as many of them as you want. So if a line Kazakh dies, just reform the fire team and back up to a 5-man. And that gives him burst 5 at ballistic skill 16 with an APHMG. Is gross.
It's very, very, very gross. I'm actually popping it in right now.
Very gross. And because he's a wild card, and we talked about the Colonel Veronin being a wild
98
card.
points.
Yeah.
For a forward observer, so you could have it at 97, but a forward observer Kazakh, 2 regular ones, because it could hide the lieutenant. Heavy rocket launcher Frontovic, and the APHMG veteran Kazakh, 9 points, 2.5 SWC. And the Frontovic is now BS 15, And vet is be a 16 base until one goes down.
And then you have a couple more line Kazakhs nearby to refill holes.
Oh, I had the Kazakh as the lieutenant. So it could be 3.5, and you could make a lieutenant nearby.
You can also do the cool. So the special fire team for Frontovics, right, is up to 4 plus a 112. So you can take 2 Frontovics, a 112, a veteran Kazakh, and a Voronin.
Yeah.
In a single fire team.
It was the very first fire team I made.
So, yeah. Brand new robots. Kinda a lot like the old robots.
Just like 3 points more.
In that
it?
there is a Katyusha version and an Uragan version, Tony. The tractor mule courier, or courier, because it is Azerbaijani for courier.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So the courier means courier. Shocker.
Right.
And yeah, so Katyusha are again just like the other tractor mules, which you still get access to in TAC. And they're exactly the same as they are. But these TAC only tractor mules, the couriers, add mine layer and anti-personnel mines.
Super good. And ECM,
and whoop-de cock-a-doodle doo. Yeah, so I mean, defense, man.
Yeah.
If you're protecting your back line, now you got this guy, he's starts with a mine out, which is another mine in your deployment zone that nobody knows what it is. Is it a Spetsnaz? Is it a tank hunter? Is it ambush camo marker? Is it a mine? Is it Vasily? Who knows what all these camo markers are? But yeah, mine layer. And what is it? 4 points more than their...
It's 3. You're paying 3
11
points.
and 18. 3 points, yep.
Playing 3 points on each profile for mines and the mine layer. And I have to say, after all of the years of us doing this show, I'm always like, somebody tell me why to take an Uragan. Because I'd rather spend less points on something that can drop guided.
Right.
Now I actually like this version with the Uragan because it's total reaction. So if you're going to cover a lieutenant, you have a mine that you can pop out. And now I want to take the total reaction because it's extra. Because now it's like, well, if they shoot it, I have a really crappy ballistic skill, but they have to eat a mine to do it.
Yeah.
So now it's a little bit more tasty to me. And I don't know why that is. You can do the same thing with the regular Uragan. I'm going to put it back there. But you have to win that face-to-face roll. But now the fact that you could put a mine out and cover a corner to have to eat that and hit you, really good.
Literally wrote on my notes, whoopee after ECM.
Yeah, it's like...
Okay, somebody comes all the way back there to forward observe.
And then they shoot guided at you.
And now they can shoot guided. I mean, whatever. But yeah, they're same SWC, 3 extra points, and you get mines. And and expanded baggage availability. Because tractor mules are 2, and now tractor mule couriers are 2, so you can have 4 baggage remotes.
And it's super helpful with the new jump rules too, because even if you are using like the Katyusha and you want to drop the guided ammo, right, you're usually hiding that in the back, and then it gets kind of like lost. With the way the new rules are, being able to jump wherever you want, pretty much like having that mine to cover your 6 per se, or where they can catch you in a vulnerable spot's pretty nice, honestly.
So a courier, a Spetsnaz, and Vasily walk into a deployment zone. You got a mine, 2 fake camo markers, and 2 actual dudes. 5 markers.
Right.
Go ahead and discover some stuff and try and pick out what's real and what's fake and who's who and where's Waldo.
And again, it's an AD deterrent. You're like, I don't want to land there. I'm going to get screwed. So it's... really, 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 really good. Really good.
The only infiltrating camo specialist in TAC is the same one we all used as we played Russians before there was a sectorial. It's the Ariadna Scout. He is still expensive at 30 points, but he's also super lovable. Forward observer with Oyotnik, D-charges, and mines.
You get to take one extra, though.
Marksmanship level 1. So you have a shock Oyotnik and a shock pistol, for that matter. Multi-terrain, important for rescue, especially. Camo infiltrators, yeah, they are the classic, and you're correct. Their availability has gone up by 1, Kip. From 3 in vanilla to 4. That 30 points. Man, I'd much rather be paying 20 for a chasseur.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I wrote down for those of you who've never faced a scout or are new and just nobody's played it, that Oyotnik, it's a cool weapon because it's AP, burst 2, damage 14, and its 0 range is 0 to 8 and 32 to 40, and its +3 is 8 to 32. So it's pretty much the whole table. You're not at -3.
It's a very accurate weapon.
Very accurate weapon, which is really cool, but you pay for it, and it is only burst 2. They are ballistic skill 12, which isn't bad. Scouts are really cool.
Especially with the camouflage.
Yeah.
Camo cover, surprise shot. You can stack some mods against the bad guys.
But it can't suppress.
Cannot.
Because only burst 2. I mean, they have D charges. They're good. They're expensive though. Really, really expensive.
And so yeah, it really cuts down on the things that you can take. Was hoping for a comparable specialist to a Foxtrot or a Chasseur, where it's about 2/3 of this cost. In that 20-point range. Also camo infiltrate, and we got close with Strelok and the 20-point forward observer, but it's only forward deployment level 2, not infiltration.
Yep. I would have much rather had the forward observer on the boarding shotgun profile because that's the cheapest one, and you'll use your flash pulse and arrow.
Are you talking about the Strelok?
No,
now,
the scout. The scout. Like I much rather. I wish the forward observer was on the boarding shotgun profile. Because you can use the flash pulse and arrow at long range. You have D charges. You have so I mean, and this is the one that you're gonna kind of how have you been using the Hunzakutes? Like you can use it to clear people out.
0 to 8 on an Oyotnik is -3, by the way.
Is it? Once again, Army has failed me on the weapons list that I pulled up. It said 0. So never mind on the front.
Well, again, in Army, in Army 6, it shows a -3. If it's different on the wiki,
I could have just actually read it wrong because I'm notorious for that, and you know that.
But yeah, thought something was funny there. But yeah, out to 40 is 0 between 32 and 40, and then you jump to a -6,
right?
But you're never shooting at 40 anyway.
No. Yep, you're right. -3. I just missed it.
Yeah. Boarding shotgun guy is good for. He starts in the midfield, and he scampers across into your backfield, and then surprise shot with a boarding shotgun and wipes out whole swaths of stuff.
And to add one flavor to that is scamper, places a mine, then comes around and boarding shotguns you.
I mean, you can do that for sure, but with the surprise shot gives you that additional -3, right? And so. If you're in a weapons bad range like a sniper rifle or HMG, that's -3. The -3 that you get from the surprise shot being camoed is, I think, more valuable than they're also going to have to eat a mine because it could make them just not be able to hit with the range, camo, cover, surprise shot, and then again we've talked about how expensive everything is. Spending an order, like placing the mine, spending a whole order to re-camo to then do the surprise shot is very order intensive.
It is if you have the orders, or if it's against like a Phoenix per se, right? I would use it situational. I just I kind of like to put people in the position to where they have to take a shot. So it's like, wow, I can shoot back, but then I'm going to eat a mine. Or I can dodge, and then I could possibly dodge everything, and now I am not taking any repercussions back, and it's all offensive. But just like you said, it is order intensive. So it's you're like, man, if I do that, then I might not be able to do this, which could cost you a lot of points in ITS with some of the missions. So it's very situational.
And that will bring us to Pavel Alexei McManus, Spetsgruppe G. What? And this guy, he's camouflaged. Mm-hmm. He has forward deployment level 2, and he is a specialist operative. He is only armor 0 with 1 wound, and nothing beyond that. No dogged, no nothing. But he has assault, which is the one where you can combine your 2 movements together and still make an attack at the end of it, as long as your target's in line of fire when you start. Along with assault, he also has natural born warrior, and these you can use together. You can use your close combat skills together. So when you assault, you can get +3 to your close combat of 22 and +1 to your physique of 13 to go along with your T2 close combat weapon. And
It's dirty.
Yeah, so remember, I said he's got armor 0. He's also frenzy.
Yeah, there you go.
So once he launches himself like a missile at something
I was waiting.
and destroys it, he will be impetuous at the start of your next turn, and that's bad when you're armor 0. But with no smoke. However, he's armed with an Oyotnik, so 8 to 32, he's golden.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Within 8, he's got a chain colt or a pistol. Chain colt gives him a template option. He does have mines that you can place down. He's 31 points, 0 SWC. He seems like a whole lot of fun. I mean, he's obviously some sort of Russian dog soldier borrowed from Caledonia, right?
Right. So that was going to be my first question. So looking at he's obviously from Caledonia, and he has like this Thundercat symbol going on.
Oh, and that's the thing about Natural Born Warrior and Assault. The +3 from Natural Born Warrior is going to cancel out the -3 you get from Assault. So you're at your 22.
Yeah. Wait. But he's only silhouette 2. Mm-hmm. So is it like, was he because it does look like he's got like a dog face or a dog warrior, right? But then I'm looking at it, I'm like, nah, it's Thundercats. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at it.
You're like some sort of Wolver guy.
Yeah, but it's like, did they like just reverse the gene? Is he going to be a spin-off of a Thundercats character? Because they like to do that every once in a while.
You think he's going to look like Lionel?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he like Lionel? Because everybody joked about that when the old McMurrow.
Oh, he was terrible.
Yeah, but it was like his dog face form was Lionel. So Lion-O, there you go. Actually, I was thinking of, hello,
so
me you're looking for.
Lionel Richie?
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what this is and his backstory, because he's only silhouette 2, doesn't have transmutation.
You've got your Straylocks in the midfield with forward deployment 2. You've got your Scouts. So you have all these camo markers in the middle. Mm-hmm. And they don't know what is a Scout, what is a Straylock, what is a Straylock's ambushed camo marker. And then you have this guy hiding amongst all of that. What is a mine? In case you took mine layers, right? They don't know what any of those camo markers are. And so maybe you then activate a Straylock and you do something with it. And they're like, okay, so that camo marker was within 8 inches. That's a little fakesy. I'm just going to walk, towards it. I'm not worried about it. Mm-hmm. And then your turn rolls around and you out of cover like a missile right at them, and smack them with your T2 close combat rifle and close combat weapon. And so he could be really fun to just be hidden amongst all those camo markers, them not knowing which is which. And if they make the wrong assumption and or on the other hand, if you're facing attack and you see all these camo markers, or vanilla Ariadna for that matter, and you see all these camo markers out there, and you are certain you know that it's an ambush camo marker or it's a mine, right? And you're like, I'm going to minesweeper that camo marker. Or you can't. You got to discover it. Right?
Yeah, you got to discover it first.
But yeah, so you're facing it. You don't know what. Like, don't just walk up in front of it, assuming it's ambush camo. It could always be Pavel.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. Is I put F you Achilles or or whatnot, because we were talking about that in the beginning. It's like, well, usually your heavy infantry, you're like, I'll roll up on those camo tokens because if it's a mine, I'll dodge. Especially if you're running a left and Achilles, you're like, I have a high physique and a lot of wounds, high armor. But then you roll up, and then all of a sudden Pavel comes at you, and he goes, "Natural born warrior, you're not using your martial arts skill. Let's go at this toe to toe, buddy." That's kind of scary,
Right, because even taking the -3 for assault, if you use it, you don't have to use it. You can just walk up normally.
Yep.
He's still a 19, and he's a camo marker with it, so he can surprise attack, which inflicts a -6 on your opponent. So
Yeah. Especially like tags, heavy infantry rolling by.
So if you have a revealed Shinobu in his vicinity, he can one-shot her.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, Achilles becomes much less scary when he's at a -6 and can't use his martial arts.
Yeah.
And you won't kill him, but you can do 2 wounds to him. And then he's got to spend the orders to attack you. And if he does it, he's not going to get to use martial arts.
Yep. Yeah, I would
And-
totally attack one time and then leave him there and be like, tied up.
And now what do? Do you spend orders on Achilles to try and shoot him or to try and hack him? Because a 22 versus, what is Achilles, 25?
I believe so, yeah.
Like, that's just 1 die each. And
I'm +2, you're +5.
do you hustle somebody else up there to get into the close combat to, give him a helper? Do you shoot into that close combat at -3 for his camo and then -6 for the close combat and then risk hitting Achilles by accident? Yeah, no, he could be super fun. It's 31 points, which is crazy that you have to like pay for the things you get. I know.
It's a lot of points, though.
But yeah, if I think like just to take him on it, like if you're taking a bunch of fire teams, and then you just take him, and he's the only thing like in the midfield. All right, I'm going to come up and try and censor that, or I'm going to discover it, or whatever. But when you've got 6 or 7 camo markers in the midfield, and he's one of them hiding in the tall grass with all the others, and he just pops out of nowhere. Yeah, he looks like a lot of fun. Can't wait to try him out. I hope he doesn't just get like punked by a Discover Shoot
Right?
the first time I take him.
That'll happen the first time you take him. So you got to
Yeah.
play a couple games because that's how it happens. Every
Yeah.
time you want to try something out, it never works.
Hey, Antipode packs, they are now availability too, and still bargain priced at 25 points.
Yeah. I was like, my notes were antipodes. Now you have to deal with 2 of them.
6 of them.
6 of them. And the one thing I wanted to point out, because I don't think, before we did this, Tom, because I've never played vanilla, and I've played against it a lot, but I've never seen anybody do this. Antipode handlers have smoke grenade launchers.
Of course they do.
I've never seen it used. And since I've never like really looked at the profile or like dove into it, never realized that they had that.
Absolutely.
And then I was thinking out loud outside, and I was like, why don't I see the Quang Shi thing going on where the antipode controller shoots smoke from where nobody else can see her, but she can see a point, and then the antipodes run through to kind of save him a turn. And your response was...
Oh, I normally don't have to do that because the Ermendino has already done his impetuous move and thrown smoke, and it's where I need it
Yeah.
to begin with, so I
So-
don't have to waste an entire order on speculative firing or whatever.
And I was like, great. And we're going to basically pass over Ermendino, so I figured that'd be a good point to bring him up because all you get with them is 1. So don't really need to talk about them outside of that. But that was eye-opening to me today. I was like, wow, this has been around forever, and you've never noticed that. you are an idiot. Yep.
But no hidden deployment shenanigans with 6 antipodes screaming across the table, plus a linked antipode with Veronin coming at you in a fire team, plus Straylock canines in the middle. Plus Carmen, who we're going to talk about next. Carmen, Johns, and Batard. Everybody, please go back and listen to Tor Swanson's heartfelt masterpiece theater reading.
So good.
So, mercenary biker. She's irregular. She is regular impetuous. Mm-hmm. It's like a maverick. You don't have to go crazy if you don't want to, if it's going to get your butt shot off, right? Mm-hmm. Smoke light grenade launcher and smoke grenades. And she's armed with a chain rifle and heavy pistol, but she has scavenger.
Oh, yeah.
So, if there's a nice, juicy, unconscious model out there with a cool thing that she would like to shoot or hit people with, she can drive by and scavenger that off of them. She is also, like Pavel, natural-born warrior.
Yeah.
At close combat 22, with
Yep,
with a double action close combat weapon at physique 13. And again, she moves 8'4", because she's on a motorcycle. She comes with Batard, who is an antipode with sensor. He's got a trench hammer as well. And he is mimetism. Most of the antipodes are camoed. Mm-hmm. So he is previously revealed.
Yeah, he's been revealed.
And retains mimetism. And he's also
permanently burnt.
He's ghost synced with her. He has a close combat of 22, physique of 15. So you can get these two together into a close combat for happy, fun, good times.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, trench hammers in close combat are double action, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, man. But she has natural born warrior. That's the thing. That's who you choose, who's going to make the attack.
It depends on the target.
Exactly. I was
Totally
gonna say,
depends on the target.
If they don't have martial arts, you hit them with Batard because of the extra physique. If they do have martial arts, you're smoking them with Carmen. Because what I liked is this is just as much fun as Pavel, although you don't get all the crazy tricks to get there, but can do the same thing because of Natural Born Warrior. But with an 8-inch and a 6-inch assault, that's the same as moving into it. So there goes that thought.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's still like they will mess up a tag.
Yeah, because you can get both of them in there.
Get both of them in there, and you can use Batard to make the attack. He gets the +1 burst, so he's hitting on 22s with 2 dice with a double action trench hammer at physique 15. Mm-hmm. And in fact, the Carmen's not that much. She's got a double action close combat weapon. She'd be physique 14 because of natural born warrior. Mm-hmm. It's not that much worse. They're the same close combat.
Unless you're negating like Achilles or
Well, that's why I said a tag. So, you're right. But but yeah, you're right. And then if it's somebody like Achilles or Shinobu, then natural born warrior cancels out their martial arts, and you're still hitting on a 22.
Yeah. But you get 2 dice,
and they can get there immediately because the impetuous, they've got the order that you have to spend on them anyway. 8-4 movement, 6-6 on the antipode. He's actually faster than she is.
Right. Well, on the second move.
Well, total,
Yeah.
right? 12 to... Oh, no.
12,
It's the same. 12,
yeah.
12. 12, 12. I somehow got to 14 when I added 6 and 6.
I think you were like at 8-6, like
Probably.
most other bikes. Yeah, no, I really like these. My first instinct of this was, man, I really want to get both of those in on somebody, especially with like a high skilled martial artist like Achilles or Shinobu or Nobuni Waban. If you can get both of them in, because you have sensor, you can pop those TO camos real good, and if you can get both of them in base contact and you use Natural Born Warrior, somebody like Achilles can't use their martial arts, so they're just stuck at a whopping +5. But now, if you get both of them in, you're at a whopping +2 But you get 2 dice. So that's nice.
Or there's your alpha striking, Ramboing Achilles, and he's stuck past the midway point with no support because he just let his Spitfire run wild for the first turn. And now it's your turn, and your camo marker moves over, engages him because it's Pavel McManus.
There you go.
And he does the surprise attack, Natural Born Warrior thing, and he, so maybe he does 2 wounds on Achilles with the T2 close combat. And now he's just, or maybe he does no wounds, but he's there tying him up. And now here come Carmen and Batard around the other side. Now that Achilles is tied up, he's not shooting at him on their way in. And boom, then they both get in. There's a friend. Oh, I think if synced models attack, they don't get a bonus from the friend.
Doesn't matter. He's already in close combat, so he can't shoot you on the way in, though.
Yeah.
And then you come and finish him off.
That all of a sudden got way less good than I was thinking in my mind. The dog has mimetism. She does not have mimetism, but she comes with the smoke grenades. Fun little duo, not too expensive, 22 points.
No, the bargain. I think they're pretty fun. I actually really want
TAC
this.
only, not in vanilla.
No.
May appear. I haven't looked through NA2 if she appeared in any of the mercenary companies.
I did not do that either, but super fun profile though, assaulting, and I would really like to
For 22 points, why not?
Right? I'd like to test her out.
It's just another sensor. You're playing JSA. You bring this and a Straylock K9 and Antipode Assault Pack, and their plans are ruined.
Oh yeah,
Because once they're revealed, they're so easy to kill.
Yep.
All right.
JSA, I'm going to tell you this right now, guys. Oh my gosh, you can take an Armadino and Starco? That's disgusting. Here's a side note for you guys. You want to go first with JSA all the time, every time.
Dog.
Nope. In none of these, none of them are correct.
Cool. So far, TAC only.
Yep.
And
Unless you're
Soldiers of Fortune. Yeah. Dog Warriors. Because AVA 3, they were 2 in vanilla. These are, it's a 27-point dude who's got armor 1 and 1 wound. When he loses that wound, he is now an armor 3 guy with 2 wounds.
Yeah, what?
So unless you happen to lose 3 wounds while he's armor 1, then you're just
that's
unconscious. They, so that's the transmutation, right? They go from dog face to dog warrior. They have courage. They have total immunity, which is so annoying.
Yeah, and the dog faces, like the dog warriors, are
Like the tank hunter autocannon we were talking about earlier. Where it's only 2 dice, but it's what is it, AP and explosive?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's gonna kill whatever. Not against this guy.
Nope.
He's just like, well, I'll take the 1 hit, and now I'll become a big, massive dog warrior.
And that's usually the thing is like they actually have 1 extra wound to get them into their form, which makes them it's supposed to be kind of an advantage over like a Cameronian or a Devil Dog, because they start in dog form, so they only have 2 wounds. In the other factions, dog warriors get that 1 extra wound at silhouette 2, so they can kind of sneak around a little bit and then kind of charge you. You're like, I'll take your 1 shot unless it's viral, because that will hurt you real bad. That can cause multiple wounds, but you take that 1 shot, you turn into your big
Hulk out,
and then start tearing people up. So it's a little easier to get where you need to go at that silhouette 2 form. I haven't used them too much just because I've always played Caledonia or...
Armed with 2 chain rifles, regular grenades, and smoke grenades. So while they are irregular and extremely impetuous, they do have the smoke grenades at physique 14 while a human. So hitting smoke dodges on a 17 and then after that impetuous, then they can start sneaking around, like you said, and go where you want them to go.
Yeah.
And they've got the irregular order to spend on themselves to do it. Making the list of all the dogs is fun. 3 dog faces and 2 antipode packs and Straylocks with K9 and Veronin Lieutenant because he's got an antipode and all that stuff. It's just you spend no SWC at all, but you don't have any points left to spend on guns. but it would certainly be real fun.
Release the dogs of war.
Right. And you're like, you have points left for like 2 Ermendino engineers. That's your
What could you do in that frontline? That could work in frontline, right?
Annihilation.
I'm literally pulling up the missions right now.
So yeah,
What would that work on?
Good, solid, scary, close combat, monstery guys. Close combat 21 when they turn into a big nasty dog. No close combat skills. Physique 16 though, and AP close combat weapons.
Yeah,
so
they just punch.
very scary against heavily armored targets like heavy infantry,
Tie them up.
S5 infantry, tags.
Remember when we started playing, and I would always run like Cameronians, because basically Cameronians are dog warriors that don't get dog face. They have the same exact profile with the 2 and the grenades and the smoke grenades. And I'd run it at the tags and then just leave it there. And I was like, Tom, you got to think. I basically just tackled you, and we're rolling around on the ground because you can't do anything. And I'm just punching you. And when you were learning, I was like, well, this is stupid. I don't want to have to sit here and have to deal with your close combat. I was like, well, I tackled you. Like, that's what they do. They're like, hey, I played in the dog bowl for like 10 years. I retired, so now I'm in the military.
Physique 16 with AP is no joke at close combat 21.
No, it's not.
And like you said, it's a good idea to, once you've gotten your first shot, like you got into close combat with the tag, now just chill out.
Yeah, stay there.
Spend your orders on more important things like achieving the mission, because if they want their tag back, now they've got to get rid of this dog warrior. And so they'll spend an order to close combat, or maybe shoot into the close combat.
Right.
It's probably the smartest thing. But it's always joyous when they wound their own model by accident.
That was the only option that I had against Cutter back in the day when I played the non-MSV2 armies. Run dog warriors at them. That's all I got.
Try and pin it down.
Yeah, just tackle them.
The final entry of the army is the Ermendine Bros, who go from availability 3 to availability 4.
Yeah.
And
Just kind of nice, though.
The 8-point chain rifle is the way to go, man. It's the cheapest one. They're engineers. They got decharges. They are cheap. They have smoke. They're irregular, extremely impetuous. They're the best. Ermendinos are great. Just start every tack list with 2 of those.
Yeah, it's funny. I showed Tom my first, hey, what if I played a big-time button pushy mission, especially like the grid, and I made this list. I got to 10 orders, and I was like, man, I have 33 orders left.
Points.
33 orders. 33 points left, and I have to make a group 2. But it's like, how could I make a group 2 out of 32 points that actually does something in a button pushy? Oh, 4 Mendinos. 299 points, 5.5 SWC. I have a core, I have a Haris, back up with Vasily, and then 4 Ermendine Bros just running up, pushing buttons, throwing smoke because they are engineers and doing their thing, which is kind of funny. I thought it was kind of funny anyway.
Yeah, so there are 23 different troop options in the sectorial, so that's pretty. Some of them only have 18, right? So a little.
I would say you have to hit the right button to get that last thing. I haven't seen that in a while. So
What
to get your last,
are you talking about?
because you look at it, on my small computer that I'm using, I have to hit the right button to get the dog warriors and Ermendinos. I'm used to playing the sectorials where they just all show up and you can never hit the right button because they're all right there. Because there's 11 options.
The button that scrolls to the right. I understand. No, they're all on my screen is big enough that they all appear on one.
Yeah, but
no scrolling for me. There are 23 different options, and so when look at an army that you're considering playing, the first thing I look for, like I said, are those camo infiltrating specialists, right? And it's scouts. That's it. Although Straylock forward observers are close because they have forward deployment too, they're camouflaged, right? And McManus, he's not only a murder machine, he is also a specialist operative. So he can generically push buttons, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to live that long. He's going to spectacularly murder something. and then die.
He can push buttons on the way there. That's the fun part.
And then, so you look at, like, what other tools do I need? Well, Ariadna oftentimes has a lot of smoke. So what smoke throwers do you have? There's 6 different smoke options. The dynamos, the I can't read what I wrote. Antipode controller, like you said. The dog warriors, Ermendinos, Carmen, and that's what I wrote. Carmen, I wrote her twice.
Yeah, I like the Ermendinos and then the bikes.
Well, that's why there's 6. I wrote Carmen twice because she has smoke grenade launcher, and smoke grenades. That's probably
it's
why.
like when she gets off the bike, because not a lot of bikes have them once they dismount.
And Ermendinos are probably the best.
They're
your
one.
warband, right?
Yep.
They're your warband to run out and throw smoke. Well, speaking of smoke, you want to have visors to counteract that, right?
Got one, MSV1.
MSV1.
Can't see through it.
Frontovic. And it's only one option on, like, it's not even a whole troop type.
No.
It's just one of their options. The Frontovic AP sniper rifle has MSV1. So that, lacking there. No visors. Lacking there. You're going to have a bad time against Steel Phalanx.
Yep.
And all those -6s. So you just have to get close to them and hit them with templates.
There you go.
Tags. Maybe you're going to play Show of Force or Deadly Dance. No tags. Not a 1. So they will have to kill the enemy tagged.
Right?
Put themselves on equal footing and get their points.
Luckily, there's a lot of stuff that can do that.
You can still get 7 points on it even if you don't have a tag. So you're looking at your different classifieds. There's plenty of doctors, right? Availability 5 on different doctors. A ton of paramedics and engineers. They're all over the place, right? So forward observers all over the place. So it's okay. Hackers. You get to hackers. Nope. The availability 1 war driver is the only hacker option. For decharges, you're sort of spoiled for choice, though. Because your Mendinos have it, and you're already bringing them for smoke, and because they're engineers and they're awesome. Scouts have them. Vasily has them, and especially on the marksman rifle version, he'll be out doing stuff. They may not be so useful on the sniper version. And tank hunters, or maybe the sniper version doesn't even have them.
Vasily Sniper?
I'd have to go back and look.
He does. No, yes, he does.
No, it's only it's on all of them. Okay.
All of them have
he
decharges.
likes to blow stuff up. Tank hunters have decharges. Frontovics have decharges, the engineers, and dozers, of course. So lots of decharge options. Some of them even start up the field. Some of them have impetuous orders to get them there fast. So that we're good on decharges. Anti-material close combat, which you need for the AC2s in looting and sabotage. You got 2 options. You got Carmen, who's got the double action close combat weapon, and you have McManus with the T2 close combat weapon. Those are both anti-material. And so, and you got the trench hammers, because they're not listed in Army as being anti-material, but they actually are. So you've also got Batard. So Carmen and Batard can really double tag.
Oh, that's true.
They can double team that AC2 pretty well.
2 dice.
And she can launch her own smoke to get it. She's almost self-sufficient for that. As long as she gets good smoke, she can daisy chain enough good smoke along the way. Yeah, so what the heck was I... with the anti-material, right? And the only other option is McManus and his in his T2, but that's not a bad option. He's a camo marker. That can be screaming forward, and you miss a discover, or there's smoke in the way from, say, the antipode controller's launcher, and so he can get up there and do it.
Yeah, the only other thing is like to run somebody up with decharges and hit it, right?
It's got forward deployment too. Or else then you have to, then you result to all your guys with decharges that we just talked about.
Which again, Ermendinos is your best because they can hit it on 17s.
LT, that probably should have been earlier in the list, but LTs is a thing you look at right? Like, what are my lieutenant options? Who am I going to take for lieutenant? And so Veronin, solid choice because he gives you the extra order, but he is on a large base, which can make him harder to hide. Line Kazakh.
9 points, 0 SWC.
Right, he is your line troop, hide the lieutenant sort of.
So disgusting. 18 points you can hide your lieutenant. Because you have 9 point lieutenant, 0 SWC, and a 9 point
rifle.
Yeah. Same guy.
It's 27 points. You have you have 3-card Monty, and
there you go.
And it's 3 regular orders.
That's true.
And Tank Hunter. And it's fun. You take the 3. So did this with Fusiliers, right? Same concept. And 1 Fusilier is guarding the left side against AD troops, and 1 Fusilier is guarding the right side for AD troops, walking in from the table edge. And then another Fusilier is like hidden on a balcony somewhere. And it's one of the ones guarding a flank that's the lieutenant, because they will always go and try and get the one that you hid up in the balcony.
It's pretty good.
So you've got Veronin, you've got Lion Kazakh, Tank Hunter, and I believe he's an SWC to be.
He's
lieutenant.
one, yeah. He's one SWC because I did my 0 point list, and it's like, man, if I was gonna pay 1 SWC for a lieutenant, I'd rather take a vet Kazakh.
Right, veteran Kazakh, especially like APHMG,
Yeah,
you get the
'cause
1 point break on.
Yep, you get a bonus for it.
But then I would definitely want to have chain of command.
So
If I'm using the veteran Kazakh
I like them French
APHMG,
fried taters.
I'm going to use that offensively, which exposes him to a bad dice roll, right?
Yep.
Vasily is lieutenant option.
Yep.
And
At 0 SWC.
which is cool, like with but you have to take chain of command because
Yeah.
you're going to take the marksman rifle guy, and he's running around, he's forward observing things, he's shooting things with the T2 marksman rifle, and then he's using his lieutenant order to get an extra order, right? So, but because he's being so aggressive and out there, you definitely want that chain of command option, probably Tank Hunter camo marker, like hidden somewhere in the back. And then Ariadna Scout,
Blew my mind.
who is I would use this in missions what's the one where you have to kill the lieutenant, but it's not public information?
Decapitation.
Is it decapitation? Yeah.
Because firefight, it's a... Whoa, never mind. I could be getting those backwards.
Either way.
Yeah. I think firefight is not open. Decap is...
Whichever. I would use him. He is 1 point less than the Tank Hunter version. He's 29 points and 0 SWC. But yeah, because he's a camo marker. So not only do they have to get to him, they have to discover him before they can kill him. So, good lieutenant options. A couple of them really sort of demand that you bring chain of command just to be safe, because you're going to want to be aggressive with them. Ton of sensor. I mean, it's only 4 options, but there's a ton of it, because the Antipode pack has 3 that, can be 8 inches from the center one, and it's a big swath of discovery on that sensor. Carmen comes with, her dog comes with sensor. The Strelak Canine has a sensor. Veronin has sensors. So even though you don't have a Pathfinder remote, you definitely have your sensor options covered. One of which can start right in the middle of the field.
I was going to say, it's almost better because...
And then Antipodes, they can get wherever they need to go super quick.
Yeah, and I was wrong. It was firefight that it's hidden. So firefight, and that one's the most popular out of the 2. Decapitation is the one they're always known.
Multi-terrain, or any terrain skill for that matter. That's important for rescue, especially, right? You got scouts.
Oh yeah,
and you got McManus, and you got Antipodes, who can't sync with civilians. So. And with the exclusion zone, I mean, maybe you take 4 scouts and McManus and you roll for all of them to stick them on the far dead zone.
I mean, yeah.
And then you just sink and run and never have to stop, because those are your multi-terrain options. But those are things to consider now, right? As the ITS expands and changes, so to do the necessary things that we need to bring. Without ITS, we're like, okay, I need visors. I need to max out my SWC on lots of shooty bullety things, right? But as then it was, okay, we need specialists, right? And then it's, we need veterans and we need elites. And speaking of which, there is one veteran, it's Frontovics. There are 4 elite choices.
There you go.
Spetsnaz, Tank Hunter, Vet Kazakhs, and Scouts. There is one HQ choice. This is funny. Veteran Kazakhs, not HQ. They're elite. HQ, Ratnik.
That's funny.
The guy who's described as like the cigarette smoking, bubblegum chewing, kind of dopey, loudmouth idiot who doesn't know when to be quiet, right? In the little fluff story. Yeah, he's HQ actually.
Nice.
He's in charge.
Makes sense.
And then characters this season also get veteran classification, not the skill. And so you get Veronin, Vasily, and Pavel as well. So those are your like hunting party or capture the HVT type folks there.
Which I like though, because once like Frontovics and Vet Kazakhs, like I said in the beginning, those are the things that I wanted to do the most of. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I finally have things that I can remember are elite or veteran. I like that the scouts are, though. That's really, really nice. Yeah. Because in a lot of those missions where you're like, well, I need to kidnap the HVT. Well, your scout, you can hold one in reserve. And you're like, okay. Like highly classified, where I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. And you had the Rajik that could just jump in whenever. Like having a scout that can be right there that you have held in reserve. Or if you deployed second, you already know where it's at. Super, super nice.
As we come to the end of the episode here, so lists are funny, right? Everybody always wants a list. Well, what's the list for? Is it for rescue? Is it for frontline? Is it for the grid? Right? And it's much more better.
It's much more better
to talk about lists that are focused towards a specific mission, right? Because there's no one list that's good at every single mission.
No.
And whatnot. So I was thinking more of like high concept things that I want to add into a list that once you've got that concept, you can add things around to get the job done. And one of them, like I talked about, was all of the camo in the midfield between your Strelocks and Pavel and Scouts, right? And all that stuff that's up there. And those things that come with mine layers and or ambush camo. So there's multiple camo markers, and using as many of those as possible, so they never know when that missile of Pavel is going to come out of nowhere to disrupt something, right? Or they don't know which one is an Oyotnik scout that's going to shoot them from 30 inches away along the horizontal of the board.
Yeah.
That they never expected, right? And so that's one concept. So you take all of the things in there that you can, Strelok K9 to reveal their camo markers, and a Strelok mine layer, and a couple of scouts, and then Pavel, and so you've got 7 camo markers plus a 40 millimeter camo marker littering the middle of the field. And now you've got that, and that's probably maybe 137 points or something. And so now what do you do with the other half of your army that's actually going to tailor that to the mission? Like, okay, it's rescue, so I'm going to add more scouts, or it's quadrant control, so I'm going to grab a dozer and a couple of baggage remotes, or whatever it is. It's highly classified, so you got to take a war driver, and
right. Gotta handle all the classifieds.
Or the sort of the same concept, but back farther, is the deployment zone camo spam, where it's Spetsnazes with ambush camo, or Vasily with ambush camo, or a courier tractor mule that that drops a mine. And so it could be a tank hunter. It could be what's the other camo guy?
Which one, Vasily?
I already said Vasily.
Oh.
The one that would start in your deployments. Maybe I nailed them all.
Yeah, Spetsnaz and Tank Hunter.
Yeah, I
And
said
then Vasily.
Spetsnaz. Okay. And so you've got, 7 camo markers in your deployment zone, and they know the Tank Hunter autocannon exists. They know that Vasily exists. They know, but they don't know which one is which. So they've either got to get to you with their own sensor, or they got to spend orders discovering, or they move out and cross their fingers, and
Like,
then you reveal and snipe them
Right?
in ARO, right? It's the whole, just leave everything out and up, and you can ARO or not ARO as you choose. And they never know where the threat's going to come from. The dog theme, I think I mentioned, is super fun. It doesn't leave you points for anything except for that. Well, it's
Yeah.
a theme, so that's good.
I'll say it'd be good for frontline or an Annihilation. I just want to play this because it's fun.
I mean, you could scale it back to, you could take only one Antipode pack, and then one Dog Warrior, and then one Carmen, and then one Strelok K9, right? Instead of maxing out availability on all of the dog things, and then that would leave you some flexibility to get some
It would be
missions
super
done.
fun to play in a mission where all you had to do was just hold stuff. So like Quadrant Control, Frontline, Annihilation. I'd like to see that happen. It'd be fun. But no, I agree with you. Like all those things you were saying. I started doing lists like you did, but it was more so like to see how fire teams interacted and how much they actually took up in your points value and what you had left. Like you were saying, well, now what can I add? So if you want to do like the camo spam in the middle, well, how many points do I have to actually accomplish a mission? I did the same thing with fire teams. And another thing with the missions is it's like, well, what's your opponent going to do to you? So like, I like your joke that you said about, so a courier and Vasily and all that walk into a bar, Veronin, on a mission like Firefight where you know that all bets are off on table sides where people can come into and basically Van Zant everybody. I was calling the what was I saying? The Van Setsnaz. It's the only time you take like a bunch of the parachutists and go off the back, but then you have to worry about that coming at you. So your trick with I'm going to take a couple of those couriers in my backfield and pop those mines and then have 7 camo tokens because I know people are going to be trying to not only drop in on the sides, but just infiltrate off my back edge, which is situational to that one mission.
And camo markers having 360-degree line of fire is so good against Van Zant or Firefight. Is that where you can come in?
Yeah,
with that?
Firefight, but that's everybody
Or Power
has that.
Pack.
Power Pack 2, yeah, because that's the
open
I knew there
middle?
was one more one. I was just thinking about that. Because you have the complete open middle because your deployment zones are the corners. So those, you have those two extremely situational missions, and then if you're playing US Ariadna. So those are the types of things where you're saying well, let me see what your list is. It's like, well, what am I playing? Because it's going to change.
And then these units in vanilla Ariadna as well. Pavel, McManus, being that crazy missile guy. Well, we're limited to scouts in TAC at 30 points a pop. But if you've got, Foxtrots at 17 points, right? Or 18 points for the forward observer is more likely. These super cheap Chasseur mine layers, 20 points instead of the 30 of it at scout. So for 2 scouts, you get 3 Chasseurs and 3 mines, and you've got 6 camo markers for the price of 2. And now tell me which one Pavel is and where he's going to come out from.
Right.
And, if you deploy second, you can, all right, so I see where Achilles is. I see where he's going to walk up and try to murder stuff. So I'm going to put this guy where he can easily intercept that on the way, right? And then if you go first, you just use him.
yeah, exactly. Use him.
But
He has camo.
But yeah, some of these my favorite list that I made while making TAC lists. When I went back and looked, I realized I didn't take any fire teams, and that all my availabilities were the same availabilities they were in vanilla. So I basically just made a vanilla list, which is not surprising because I was playing it with using all the Russian units for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made this list, and then I realized, so it's vanilla by accident, but I could actually make this even better now that I know it's vanilla by removing the scouts, replacing them with cheaper things. And now I've gone from 13 orders to 16 orders, and basically have the same functionality, but I have more resources to do it with, and maybe I get 1 or 2 extra toys as well. But so we've made lists. We have lists. I don't know how much value there is in lists unless it's geared to our mission or whatnot. But in any case, we are out of time to share those lists. So maybe we'll do it on a future show.
It'd be a really good idea when we do lists is hey, these 3 missions are what we have to face, so we're going to make lists to those missions. That way we can actually talk about why we took what we took because of that mission. That would be a better way to do it. That'd be really good. I just had that idea right now. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Talking on air.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kip Parcell, father of 1.
Random thoughts.
Yeah, so the TAC, new units, fire teams, and craziness, and oh my gosh, veteran Kazakhs being in any fire team. Made one crazy list that had a core team of Frontovics with a veteran Kazakh, and it had a Harry's team of Frontovics with a veteran Kazakh, and kept my availability 5 of Frontovics, so it was good.
Nice.
And it was basically a limited insertion list. But
I did something similar.
But everybody would definitely get out of the biotech war zone. That is for sure.
That's what I was thinking. I did the same thing. I didn't end up being limited insertion because I had 33 points left over, so my group 2 was 4 Emeralditos.
That's where you got that? Okay. Yeah. All right, so those are our initial thoughts on the Tartary Army Corps. Next week we should be back with the same stuff, but with the new OSS, the new operations subsection of Aleph. So that should be next time, I think, is what we're going to do.
Whole lot of other new stuff that popped up that's super cool. So,
right, and even a bunch more new units.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't tell you which one I'm more excited for because I really dig them both.
I'm in the same boat now after reviewing all this.
So hopefully that has also inspired you into Faction ADD, and now you're excited to go out and get yourself some Operation Cold Front Tartary Armored Corps stuff. And, totally forgot to mention this at the beginning. So, Acontecimento, they're going to stop production on the miniatures just like they did for Merovingia. Still a sectorial.
You can still play it.
And there's probably going to be an update with new fire teams just like they did for Merovingia. So, don't freak out. They're just stopping production of models. It has nothing to do with the models you already bought. You still can totally use them. And they're going to keep rotating a sectorial out of production, but not out of the game as they introduce a new one. So here comes TAC and OSS, and there goes Acontecimento.
Which is still a faction you can play and it's supported in the game. You just, if you don't own the models, buy them now.
And in a little while, there's going to be Varuna, and then maybe something else will get rotated out of production.
That was my thought. It's like Varuna's coming up.
It's just the models, yo. You can the rules are all still there. You can still play the faction. The faction isn't going away, so stop freaking out. And we have gone too long. So until next time, get out there and support your local game store.
To find out how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/MayaCast.
You can find us online at www.mayacast.com.
We are on Facebook at facebook.com/InfinityMayaCast.
Follow at Maya Podcast on Twitter.
Join the MayaCast forum group on Facebook.
And as always, you can email us at tom@mayacast.com.
And Kip at MayaCast.com.